Courtney Gerlikowski, Gerlikowski.
Thank you.
Be seated and just kind of get close to the microphone, and whenever you're ready, Attorney Saunders.
Good afternoon, Courtney.
Oh, good afternoon.
Can you let us know how you're currently employed?
I'm a registered nurse.
And where do you work?
I work at Door County Medical Center.
How long have you worked at that specific?
I just started last week.
Okay. Do you have other prior experience as a nurse?
Yes.
For about how long?
I've been in 10, 11 years.
And throughout those years, you worked at other medical facilities?
Yes.
Are you a resident of the area?
I just moved to Door County, so
Along with your new job?
yes.
Where did you live prior to that?
In Green Bay.
Back in May of 2016, did you also live in Green Bay at that
Yes.
time?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know an individual known as Douglas Detrie?
Yes, I do.
And how do you know Doug?
I went to middle school and high school with him, an acquaintance friend.
And not to put a number on it, but can you say approximately how long you've known Doug then?
Like 20 plus years.
Okay. And how do you describe your relationship with Doug?
Acquaintance, not a close friend, but an acquaintance friend. Would hang out every once in a while.
Can you say approximately how often you would hang out with Doug?
It was more when I was in my younger 20s, but in the last couple of years, anywhere from 1 to 5 times a year, maybe.
Okay. And do you also know an individual known as Nicole VanderHeyden?
Yes,
And how do you know Nikki?
through Doug Detrie.
Can you describe that interaction?
I met her just a few times. Didn't have a lot of interaction with her. Just knew that she was dating Doug. But Doug and I aren't in the same close circle all the time, so I didn't see him that often. I heard of her, knew of her, but I'd only met her 2, maybe 3 times at the most.
And was one of those instances May 20th of 2016?
Yes.
And what was the reason you had contact with Nikki on that night?
Group of friends, we had all went to a concert at the Watering Hole together, and they were there.
Do you remember who was playing, which bands were playing?
It was the Steel Panther band. I think the opening band was Annex.
Okay. And were there other individuals at the concert with you in addition to Nikki and Doug?
Yes.
Do you remember who those were?
Yes. Do you want me to name all of them?
If you can.
Sure. Crystal Kane, Angela Delphos, Aaron Kalinsky, Darcy Lipsky, Douglas Detrie, Nicole VanderHeyden, Jesse Barakashan, Mike Gillespie, Sean Gohagan, Sarah Gohagan. I feel like I might be missing someone, but
That's perfect. Thank you. Did you all arrive at the concert together?
not all of us, no.
Can you describe how you got to the concert that night?
I had met some friends at my friend Angela's house prior, and then a bunch of us rode there. And Doug and Nikki were not there, or they didn't go with us. We met them there later that night.
They arrived later on
Yeah.
than when you arrived.
Correct.
Okay. Do you remember approximately what time you got to the concert?
I think around like 7:30.
Okay. And what about Doug and Nikki? Do you recall what time they got there?
I don't recall the time, but it was before the concert had started.
Okay. And the concert starts. Can you describe the general atmosphere at that time within your group?
We were just having fun, drinking, singing along to the band, having a good time.
Do you on that night personally observe rather, the interaction between Doug and Nikki?
Yes, briefly.
Okay. Can you describe that for us?
It was the same, just having fun. Nothing, I mean, singing, dancing with the band.
Did you observe any argument
No,
between the two? Did you observe any fight between the two?
no.
So sounds like a typical concert. Is that correct?
Yes,
And did you stay at the watering hole all night?
no.
Do you recall approximately when you left the watering hole?
We left shortly after the concert was done, maybe around 11.
And where did you leave to?
We left and went to the sardine can.
And can you describe we in that sentence? Who all went with you?
Oh, my friend Jessie, Crystal, Angela, Aaron, Darcy, and Nikki, and myself.
So Doug did not go with you to the sardine can, is that right?
He did not, no.
Do you know why?
When the concert was done, there was a lot of people. It was crowded. We were kind of sitting there deciding where we wanted to go, what we wanted to do after the concert, because we knew we didn't want to stay there. And we didn't know exactly where Doug was. We briefly looked. It was just so crowded. We decided to go and thought we would just text him and let him know where we went.
And was the plan ultimately that you would all congregate at the sardine can
Yes.
eventually that night?
Yes.
In the car ride, did you have the chance to observe Nikki's demeanor?
Yes.
Can you describe that for us?
She was drunk, feeling good, kind of happy, and that's about it.
Okay. And once you all get to the sardine can, were people continuing to drink at that point?
Yes.
Similar to the watering hole, was everyone having a good time?
Yes.
And approximately what time did you leave the sardine can on that night?
I left around 12:20 in the morning.
And how did you leave?
I took an Uber home.
When you left, had Doug arrived to the sardine can
No.
by that point?
No.
At the sardine can, were you able to observe Nikki's demeanor?
Yes.
And how would you describe that?
She was, like I said, a little bit intoxicated, having a good time, dancing, and I don't know, kind of hanging on your shoulder.
Okay. And again, by the time you left, Doug had not arrived.
That's
Is that
correct.
right? And last question, sorry. When you left, Nikki was still at the sardine can?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
Yes, thank you, Judge. So who was playing? It was Steel Panther?
Yes.
How was the concert?
It was good. Fun.
It was good?
Mhm.
And you guys had a pretty big group there, correct?
Yes.
I think we tried to name all of them, but I have your statement right in front of me, so I can help lead you. So there was Crystal Kane, Angela Delphos, Jesse Barakshin, Aaron Kalinsky, Darcy Lipsky, Doug Detrie, Sean Geohagen, Sarah Geohagen, Greg Matthew, Mike Gillespie, and Nikki. So that's 11 total, right?
Yes.
And that's a pretty big group at that concert?
Yes.
And then as the night progressed and you got to the end of the concert, I believe Sean and Sarah actually left before the concert was over, or right after?
Yes.
So of your main group of 11, 2 left and you knew that they had left.
Yes.
So then there was 9 people left. And of the 9 people left, everybody was together. Everybody knew where they were except Doug and Greg were missing.
They weren't missing. There was a lot of people, and we figured they were up in the bar inside, and it was just so crowded to try and even get in there.
Sure. And you couldn't get a hold of them either?
I don't have their phone numbers,
Could anybody in the group get a hold of them?
not that I'm aware of.
And then on your way from the watering hole to the sardine can, you were able to observe how Nikki was feeling?
Yes.
And you said she was feeling good and feeling happy?
Yeah, like someone who was intoxicated, yeah.
Okay. And then she was the same way at the sardine can?
Yes.
Do you remember how long you were actually at the sardine can?
An hour at the most.
Do you remember how long the drive was from the watering hole to the sardine can?
5-10 minutes.
And after you left the watering hole until you left the sardine can, you never saw Doug and Greg Matthew again, correct?
No.
I have no further questions.
Any redirect?
No further questions, Your Honor. I would ask Ms. Gurlikowski to be excused.
She's excused. Courtney, thank you. You may step down.